I'm not kidding. At the end of Babylon, I was crying with Manny. Let's unpack this. Spoilers ahead. Babylon is about the rise and fall of a few characters in Hollywood in the 20s. Movies were going from silent to sound. I don't think that Babylon is really about Hollywood in the 1920s. I think it is a loose adaptation of The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby sets in the 20s. Jay Gatsby hosts lavish parties for the rich and famous. He hopes to reunite with his love, Daisy. At the end of the novel, Daisy runs over and kills another woman. That woman's husband thought that Gatsby was the one who ran over his wife, so he went to Gatsby's house, shot him, and then killed himself. I think Babylon is a loose adaptation of The Great Gatsby because this is the only book I know of that's set in the 20s and has the plot of lavish partying and then a few innocent people die. In Babylon, Brad Pitt's character, Jack Conrad, is a silent movie star whose career is on the decline because of the new talkies. He is Jay Gatsby. Both Jay Gatsby and Jack Conrad are said to be larger than life, and they both die from gunshot. Margot Robbie's character, Nellie Leroy, a rising starlet in silent films, is Daisy. Nellie's first scene in Babylon is her crashing her car into a statue, which parallels with Daisy running over a woman in The Great Gatsby. Manuel Torres ties together the story. He is there from beginning to end. We see things from his point of view, and he doesn't have any effect on the plot. Who does this remind you of? The Great Gatsby's narrator, Nick Calloway. Manuel is Nick. In Babylon, there isn't the part where a man kills Jay Gatsby because he thought he ran over his wife. So they use the new talkies as the reason behind Jack Conrad and Nellie's death and Nellie's downfall and death. Their careers decline because of the talkies. Their death represents the passing of an era, and they will live on forever in film. This movie isn't really about the transition from silent to sound. This transition serves The Great Gatsby storyline. The Great Gatsby is a great American novel I read through my high school, but books and movies are very different mediums. And The Great Gatsby is a challenge for movies because it does not meet the Hollywood Code or the Hays Code, which is a series of rules around what characters can and cannot do in movies, moral ethical stuff. One key point in the Hays Code is that if a person kills someone in the story, that person needs to face punishment. In many movies, the killer dies. So Daisy from The Great Gatsby, who killed someone, cannot walk away free. The Hays Code is not as rigid today as they were in the 1930s and 40s, but they're still very much relevant, and they exist for a reason. The Great Gatsby has been adapted into movies 5 or 6 times, the first one being a silent film made in the 20s, and none of them were well received. Does Babylon work? The box office seemed to be saying that it isn't. This movie is technically brilliant. The cinematography, editing, music, sets are every bit as dazzling and energetic as what you would expect in an over-the-top Damien Chazelle movie. There is also a lot of nudity and drugs and craziness. I think this is a movie for the pandemic times when people spend a lot of time at home wearing beige sweatpants, at least I do, and there are no parties or social gatherings. People need a feast for the senses. People need crowds, dancing, jazz, parties, quick cuts, and beautiful sets. And this movie makes you feel that you're in the middle of the Gatsby-style extravaganza of the 1920s jazz age. Of course, you don't need to know about The Great Gatsby or the Hays Code. You should come for the nudity, jazz, and the partying. You should be there, so please see this movie.